I was 11 years old. I had 4 different fathers that come from a kind of a rough background. We found ourselves at Thanksgiving where my dad was unemployed and we had no money and no food. And what changed my life was a knock on the door. And I go there and there's this tall guy standing there with 2 bags of groceries, one in each hand, and an uncooked frozen turkey on the ground and in an uncooked pot. And he said, "Is your father here?" And I'm like, "Just one moment." The father got angry because he looked at the man and he said, "We don't accept charity." And he went to slam the door and the man had leaned in slightly. And so the door hit his shoulder and bounced open. Which made my father even more upset. And he said, sir, I'm just the delivery guy. Somebody knows your family's having a tough time and they just want you to have a great Thanksgiving. My father said, "We don't take charity." He went to slam the door again. At this point, when he leaned in, his foot now tripped over. So it hit his foot and bounced open again. And then the guy said this, and he didn't say it to be mean and didn't say it in a mean way, but he saw me, he's got groceries in his hand, and he nudged his head towards me. He goes, "Sir, don't let your family suffer because of your ego." And the vein, I could see it like it was yesterday, the veins on my side of my dad's neck were like going like this. He turned beet red. I thought he was gonna punch the guy in the face. And then there's this moment where he just dropped his shoulders, shamed, took the groceries, threw them on the table, slammed the door, did not say thank you, and stormed in the next room. And I was shocked. I was like, why isn't he happy? Why isn't he excited?
Yeah.
You know? And I didn't understand then what I understand today. Is all of us are controlled by 3 decisions. The first decision is, what are you gonna focus on? But whatever you focus on, you feel. If you focus on what's wrong, you find what's wrong. Like what's wrong is always available, so is what's right. But as soon as you focus on something, your brain has to make a decision. What does this mean?
That's the second.
That second decision. That meaning controls your emotions. Is this person disrespecting me? Is this person challenging me? Is this person coaching me? Is this person loving me? Well, you're gonna have a very different emotional response if you think they're disrespecting you versus loving you, right? And then once you have that emotion, the third decision your brain makes is, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
The big thing that changed my life was the meaning. That's why I'm here today. Because the meaning for me was strangers care. Because up until that point, I lived in a part of the community there that on the other side of the tracks, literally, no one seemed to care about anybody. There was no evidence somebody cared. And my father always said, nobody cares, they're all in it for themselves. And so when I was 17, I went to the grocery store and I wasn't super successful yet by any stretch. But I scraped the money together and I thought, I'm gonna feed 2 families. And I took 2 grocery baskets and I just went and filled them up. And then it was one of the most fun days. And then I remembered how my dad reacted. So I called a local church and I said, who do you know who needs help, but probably is too proud to come get it?
17.
Yeah, 17. And then I wrote this note and I said, this is just a gift from a friend. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Everyone has challenging times. And if you can do well enough someday, please do it for one other family and keep it going. Come to the first house and I grab all the groceries and it's like, it's my life being relived, right, in a certain way. I knock on the door, grab these groceries in hand, and this woman, I'm 6'7", this woman comes up to about this tall against me, and she looks up, a Hispanic lady, and she says, "Oh God," and she grabs my face and starts kissing me all over. I said, no, delivery boy. She goes, no, gift of God. I'm like, no. So then I remembered I had the note, so I gave her the note, and I'm trying not to cry. So I pointed, like, where did I put the food? And the house was smaller than this little patio, right? So she pointed, so I put the groceries down, and then all of a sudden I heard these screams. 3 boys, she had 4 total, but 2 of them hit one leg, one hit the other. And when I saw this food, these boys were so excited. And so then I had to leave. She's got tears running down her face, and the kids are smiling. This one kid wouldn't let go of my leg. It was a beautiful moment. And I get in the van, I'm trying to put the thing in gear, and I look in the rearview mirror, and I see 4 kids, huge smiles on their face on this little porch, and Mom,
Tony,
with it crying her eyes out, but with a giant smile on her face. And I just broke down. I cried so hard I couldn't see.
Yeah.
And I was like, get it together. And so I finally got the car driving and I was like, why am I feeling these feelings? And that day I realized my worst day was my best day. Then next year it was 4 families and then 8, and I had a little company, and then I got to 1 million. And about 14 years ago, I said, I called my offices, it was shortly after 2008, 3 or 4 years later, and I saw that the food deficit was still so bad in this country. And I said, how many people have I fed in my lifetime? And it was 37 years I had fed at that point 42 million people. And so I said, well, what if I fed, I've scaled my businesses. What if I scaled my philanthropy? What if I fed as many people in 1 year as I've done in my whole life? What if I did more, 50 million people in a year? And then I went, what if I did 100 million? What if I did 100 million for 10 years and 1 billion meals? And that unleashed me. I was like, I will find a way to do that. And so, But as you and I have talked about, the secret to that was I then said to myself, okay, if you got a 10-year goal, that doesn't mean squat. You're not called to do something the next day. One of my great gifts of working with you has been you and I have the same urgency, the same drive that we got to solve this. So I was like, that means I got to get 100 million meals this year, and it took me 37 years to do 42 million. I better find another way. And then ideas exploded, and I did it. And I did it in 8 years. I did it with Feeding America as my partner. And then to finish the story, and how we came together.
Here we are, we're in New York City, and we use this as an urgent, I think, just to tell what happened here. And I give the credit to God, I give the credit to the American farmer.
Yes.
And you as a catalyst. I also think you take Beasley, you take what you've done with Feeding America, others, is there's power in networking.
Yes.
But I mean, ultimately what we are launching into is that 100 billion meals.
Yes.
We did and announced really today 30 billion.
Yes,
30 billion
which means
more.
we're at 92 billion meals in 3.5 years.
There you go.
No one thought we could do it in 20 years.
There you go.
But you're a gigantic part of that, so we should talk about that. The most important, simple lesson is that our lives are controlled by our decisions, as simple as that is. We forget that. It's like if I asked you, why is your life the way it is today? If you look back over the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years from how old you are, I bet there's moments you can remember a decision you made that if you made a different decision, your life would be completely different. Where you're gonna go to school, what you're gonna do for a living, who you're gonna marry, or get divorced, whether you're gonna have a kid or not. There's so many of those. And so people think their conditions control them, but I would argue it's their decisions that control them.
Yeah.
Because you can have the worst conditions. Two people experience the same horrific event, but they don't have the same experience.
Yes.
Because they make a different decision about what to focus on, what it means, and what they're going to do about it. Those three decisions are happening every moment of your life. They're just unconscious. And if you become aware of those three decisions and you choose what to focus on, because the world's trying to control your focus. We're not in the information age. Information age died a long time ago. There's too much information. We're drowning in information. We're starving for wisdom, right? So today, people want your attention, and that's what clickbait is for. They get paid, even though the article doesn't even say what they said there.
Yeah.
It's just get your attention. It's attention economy. So you have to take control of your own attention, or the rest of the world will, your own focus.
Yes.
And then you have to decide what things mean, not let the world tell you. That's what makes you a leader. And then you got to decide, what are you going to do with that, right? So I think, it's in your moments of decision that your life is shaped. And if you don't most people try not to make the wrong decision or make a perfect decision. To make no decision is the only decision you want to avoid.
Decision making too liberates a coalition. We saw it in this,
absolutely.
this 3 billion meals.
That's
was
right.
a coalition of people.
Oh, never can be done by an individual.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. Danny Leckie, the Hatch team, everybody, the way everyone came together,
Yes.
the collective, I think is key. Another thing we learned, and I want to unlock this, is you can tell purposeful people.
100%.
And you can tell people that aren't. There's 3 very important days in your life, and I think one of them is, say, when you get that calling. For me, spiritually, it's when I have found that relationship with God, and and then you find the reason that you exist.
That's right.
And then, lastly, to your point, you do something about it.
Yeah.
And when you activate, and there's nothing to me, the other side of hungry for me, besides the meals hungry, is when you unlock somebody.
100%.
I have a quote on my wall that says, hey, we need to take people places they wouldn't go naturally themselves. Achieving results they couldn't imagine achieving. You pushed me to do that.
Yes.
But feeling a level of purpose they've never felt before.
Yeah.
You and I have had some experiences that have unlocked us.
Yeah.
And we were around a lot of people. The only reason what we're celebrating today happened was a whole lot of purposeful people.
Hugely so.
As a father, as a CEO, as a leader of a lot of coalitions, the greatest thing I want is people to find their purpose. If they don't, go leave. And I want to speak to the AI revolution and everything in the next 36-month change you have, but how do you unlock purpose?
I think it's not something you can tell somebody. People think they have to have this incredible, gigantic purpose or this long written purpose. What I tell people is, who said you're supposed to have just one purpose, especially young people?
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know what my purpose is. Well, you have a lot of purposes. When I've got 5 children, when I'm each of my kids, I might have a different purpose. When I'm with my grandkids, I have a different purpose. When I'm running one of my companies, I have a different purpose. Life is not just one purpose, but it's nice when you can find something that drives you underneath it all, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I've never been into motivation. I've never believed in motivation. I don't believe you should go to your garden and chant, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. Like, you got to see the problem and pull it out. You got to make it happen. But you got to find what drives you. Like, if you're overweight, you're motivated to eat, right? It's pretty obvious. I want to find what drives you long term. And to find that, you need to go to different environments. You need to try things and let something hit you. Get around where things are better. Get around things that are more challenging. Because you and I both had that experience in my own personal life.
That's hard in a day-to-day rhythm where you just do the job, you go the same way.
What's really hard, if I may say, what's really hard is doing the same day-to-day stuff over and over again and being so unfulfilled. That's really hard.
One other skill I've seen from you, I just got to tap into, is the story of you struggling with one business, and one book you recommended I read this summer was Scaling. Yeah. You now have how many companies?
121, yeah, 22 billion in business.
You're helping me with hunger. You turn around and look at the impact you're having on training and getting people out of AI, the conference you just did last month
yes.
on skilling people all over the world on AI.